The Jews, Hebrews, Israelites, known by many names, are among the oldest continuous peoples in human history. Their story stretches back thousands of years, intertwined with myth, religion, archaeology, and mystery. They have been called the chosen people, bound by a covenant with a God whose sacred name they do not dare pronounce. Throughout their long history, they have survived destruction, exile, and dispersion, only to rise again. They witnessed miracles, engaged with supernatural beings, and guarded arcane knowledge that still fascinates scholars and mystics today. This is the story of their origins, struggles, and enduring legacy. In 1896, the renowned Egyptologist Sir William Flinders Petrie made an extraordinary discovery in Thebes, Egypt. While excavating with his team, he uncovered a 10-foot-high black granite slab inscribed with hieroglyphics. This was the Merneptah Stele, a monument commemorating Pharaoh Merneptah's victories during his reign between 1213 and 1203 BCE. Most of the stele described his triumph over Libyan invaders, but near the end, the royal scribe added a few lines about another campaign, this one to Canaan. In those lines, one name stood out: Israel. It was the earliest known written mention of the people of Israel, and strikingly, it recorded their defeat. The stele declared, "Israel is laid waste, its seed is no more." The Egyptians may have believed they had annihilated them, yet the Israelites survived. This theme, destruction, survival, and rebirth, would echo through Jewish history again and again. A common historical belief says that the Israelites were slaves in Egypt who built the pyramids under the pharaoh's command. The biblical books of Genesis and Exodus describe their enslavement and eventual liberation by Moses. But archaeology tells a different story. The Great Pyramids were already ancient by the time the Israelites appeared in history, and Egyptian society would never allow foreign laborers near such sacred monuments. The truth is that Hebrews, a name Egyptians use for nomadic Israelites, were living in Egypt's fertile Nile Delta, trading and farming. Many adopted Egyptian gods and customs, which, according to the biblical account, angered their God, Yahweh. The Bible describes how Yahweh sent Moses to confront the Pharaoh and demand the release of the Israelites. This confrontation is famous for the miracles and plagues that followed. The staff turned into a serpent, the Nile turned to blood, frogs swarmed, gnats and flies plagued the land, livestock died, boils broke out, hail and fire rained from the sky, and locusts devoured crops. While the traditional version portrays these as punishments on Egypt, some interpretations suggest that the plagues were aimed at the Hebrews themselves, to force them to abandon Egyptian worship and return to their original faith. Only after enduring these calamities did they follow Moses into the desert, beginning the journey that became known as the Exodus. In one of the most dramatic episodes of the Exodus, Moses ascended Mount Sinai to receive the 10 Commandments from Yahweh. During his 40 days away, the Israelites grew restless. Drawing on customs they had learned in Egypt, they melted their gold jewelry to create a statue of a calf, the Egyptian god Apis, associated with fertility and sustenance. This act violated the commandments against worshipping other gods and making graven images. When Moses returned and saw the idol, he destroyed it, ground the gold to powder, mixed it into water, and made the people drink it. According to the account, only one tribe, the Levites, had refused to participate in the idolatry. From that moment, the Levites became the priestly tribe, while the rest of that generation was forbidden from entering the Promised Land. The Israelites trace their ancestry to the patriarch Jacob, later named Israel. Jacob was the twin brother of Esau, and the Bible recounts that their mother Rebekah was told before their birth that the younger would rule over the elder. Jacob's life was marked by extraordinary encounters, including visions of a ladder reaching to heaven, with angels ascending and descending, interpreted by some as ancient technology linking earth and the skies. In these visions, Jacob met Yahweh, who reaffirmed a covenant first made with Jacob's grandfather, Abraham. The land of Canaan would belong to his descendants. Jacob fathered 13 children, who became the ancestors of the Israelite tribes, though tradition usually lists 12, leaving one lost tribe shrouded in mystery. The origins of Yahweh himself are complex. Many scholars believe that he began as a lesser deity in the Canaanite pantheon, alongside gods like Baal and the mother goddess Asherah. Canaanites worshipped El as their supreme god, and early Israelites may have seen Yahweh as one of El's divine sons. Over time, Yahweh absorbed the identity and attributes of El, becoming the sole God of Israel. His worship spread through nomadic tribes known as the Shasu, who carried his name, possibly of non-terrestrial origin, into Egypt and beyond. Some theories link Yahweh to the Anunnaki, the so-called ancient astronaut gods of Mesopotamian lore, connecting biblical stories to older myths from Sumer and Babylon. Biblical narratives often mirror Mesopotamian myths. The story of Noah's Ark, for example, parallels the Epic of Gilgamesh, where the god Enlil decides to flood the world, and the god Ea warns a mortal named Unapishtim to build a great ship. The Babylonian creation story, Enuma Elish, describes the formation of the world from water, the separation of light from darkness, and the ordering of creation by a supreme deity, themes that appear in Genesis. Such similarities suggest that the Israelite tradition absorbed and transformed elements from surrounding cultures. Visions of divine chariots, heavenly armies, and strange beings appear throughout the Bible. In the book of Ezekiel, the prophet describes a Merkabah, a chariot of the heavens, drawn by 4 living creatures with human and animal features, each with wings, and wheels within wheels that moved without turning. Many see this as symbolic, but some interpret it as a description of an advanced flying craft. The heavens in Jewish scripture are not silent. Psalms declares, "The heavens declare the glory of God," hinting at a wider universe filled with beings who also worship Yahweh. Socially, the Israelites began as a confederation of tribes, each led by its own patriarch and bound together by shared ancestry and faith. After the Exodus and 40 years in the desert, they crossed into Canaan under Joshua's leadership. There, they fought and displaced the Canaanites, claiming the land as their divine inheritance. They built cities, established religious festivals like Passover and Yom Kippur, and followed dietary laws forbidding certain meats. At first, they had no central monarchy, but the need for unity against external threats led them to appoint Saul as their first king. When Saul disobeyed Yahweh, he fell in battle against the Philistines, and David rose to power. King David is remembered as a warrior and unifier who expanded Israel's borders and established Jerusalem as its political and spiritual center. His reign brought stability and laid the foundations for a flourishing kingdom. His son, Solomon, inherited this legacy and is celebrated for his wisdom, wealth, and building projects, chief among them the first temple in Jerusalem. Built on Mount Moriah, the site of a profound divine encounter, the temple was both a center of worship and a symbol of Israel's covenant with Yahweh. Its design incorporated profound symbolism. 2 great pillars at the entrance, named Jashan and Boaz, representing the balance and duality of creation. Within, sacred spaces reflected layers of holiness, culminating in the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant was kept, the earthly throne of the invisible God. The temple stood as the spiritual heart of Israelite life, a place where priests offered sacrifices, taught the law, and maintained the rituals that connected the people to their God. But its significance went beyond religion. For some, it was a repository of divine knowledge, passed down from ancient times, possibly even from otherworldly sources. The detailed descriptions in the Book of Kings have inspired centuries of speculation among scholars, architects, and mystics. To this day, the Temple of Solomon remains a symbol of lost wisdom and divine human connection. From the earliest mention of their name on an Egyptian stele to the construction of a temple that became legendary, the story of the Jews, Hebrews, and Israelites is one of resilience and faith. They have survived conquest, exile, and dispersion. They have carried with them a belief in one God, whose name is too holy to utter, and whose covenant has defined their identity for millennia. Their history is not just the story of a people, but a window into the ancient world, a world where the boundaries between history, myth, and the divine were blurred, and where the destiny of nations was believed to be written in the heavens.